Hey guys, I'll probably just wait a couple minutes to see who gets on. Happy Saturday. Hope everyone's having a great weekend, had a great Thanksgiving. I'm coming to you this morning with my Saturday morning hairdo. Haven't done my makeup or anything yet, and I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna work out soon, so I don't really want to, shower and everything before I get all sweaty when I do my workout. So this is usually what I look like in the morning till I work out, especially on the weekends. So today I wanted to talk about something that I hardly ever talk about. It's something that has kind of embarrassed me most of my life, and it is my sweating problems. So, basically my whole life, ever since I was a little kid, my mom said she noticed it when I was little. I have had like excessively sweaty hands and feet. And as you can tell, it's probably not like the most pleasant topic to talk about. I basically avoid it at all costs. But I'm excited to tell you that I'm finally doing something about it. So just like a little bit of background, basically what I have is called hyperhidrosis, and what that causes is excessive sweating. And it's not just like, oh, like my hands are a little sweaty right now, like, oh, I just worked out and I'm sweaty. Like, no, I'm sitting here right now talking to you, and my hands, like, I'll show you, it's really embarrassing, but like my hands are like, they're like dripping in sweat. That's like how my hands are most of the time. They're like really sweaty. And honestly, and actually my feet too. My feet are sweating right now too. So actually when I talk about it, when I talk about my hyperhidrosis, or when I think about my hands or my feet sweating, it actually gets worse. So like, yeah, since I'm talking about my hands and my feet sweating, right now they are sweating. So, I finally actually went to the dermatologist because it has been really affecting my life. I mean, I think back through all of high school, college, grad school, I think about taking tests, and my hands are so sweaty that like as I'm writing across the page, like there's like wet prints on the page and the pages are curling up on me. It does seem to happen a lot when I'm nervous. But there are other times when I'm totally fine, when I'm just like sitting and watching a movie with friends, or like I've been dating my boyfriend for like 7 years and my hands will still get sweaty when I hold his hand. Obviously I'm not nervous with him, but that's just how it is. My feet my feet get so sweaty that like I can't really wear flip-flops. When I wear the flip-flops, especially like the plasticky ones from Old Navy, they just like slip all over the place, and it's really, really hard because in the summer I don't really want to wear sneakers. I want to wear like cute things like sandals and flip-flops, but I can't buy anything that I can't really buy any kind of shoe that like has a really slippery surface, because like if I have to walk up a hill and I have like no back to something, my feet just slip all over the place. So for those of you who just are joining, I'm talking about my hyperhidrosis, which is basically excessive sweating. So, over the years it's like, okay, when we go to hold hands with people at church, or when we go to, I don't know. Oh, this was a huge issue when I was going to interview for jobs, because I was so nervous. Well, of course I was nervous about getting a job, but I was very confident in my skills as a physical therapist, as a person, very confident about that. But of course, like, my hands are so sweaty because my body is, in that state where it's more nervous. So I was so nervous to go shake people's hands, at a job interview. Of course I had to, but I would like wipe them on my pants first, and then my hands would still be sweaty when I shook their hand. And I'm like, great, what kind of first impression am I making? So this has kind of haunted me a lot of my life. Something, like I said, I hardly ever talk about, but I wanted to talk to Facebook about it because I'm finally doing something about it. I'm taking control over it. Because I'm tired of it ruling my life. I'm tired of, not being able to hold a plank on a surface that's not like, not like a rug. Like, I can't do anything on, like, tile. You know, my feet actually, like, leave footprints when I walk around on, like, tile or other things if my feet are sweating. So I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of it, because honestly, when I started working as a physical therapist in August, it has been an issue. It has made things challenging. You know, one thing we do a lot with people who have neck pain is we'll do manual traction, where we hold under their head and we're kind of pulling back, or doing like a suboccipital release. And when my hands are under their head, you know, my hands are just like dripping in sweat. A lot of times it's because like their hair is all over my hands, and so my hands get hot and sweaty. But like, even if I'm just trying to get some traction and pull, it makes it more difficult to hold on. Or if I'm trying to do a manipulation on a joint, like at an ankle, I'm trying to do a like a grade 5 mobilization to promote a certain motion. It's harder for me to get a grip on someone's ankle to get a good grade 5 mobilization. And even if I'm not trying to do a specific treatment, but my hands are on a patient, which is like all the time, if I'm skin on skin, my patients, I just think like, what are they thinking? Why is this girl so sweaty? Or, you know, if my hand is on their clothes, I like don't want to leave a handprint. So, like I said, for those of you who are just joining, I'm talking about my hyperhidrosis, which is basically excessive sweating of the hands and feet. Not a very glamorous topic, but it's my life, and I'm trying to do something about it. So finally in, let's see, it must have been October of this year, I went to the dermatologist because I finally was able to get an appointment. I was supposed to have one in August, then they canceled on me and I had to reschedule. So I finally saw a dermatologist in October, which was really exciting. First time I ever saw a doctor specifically for the hyperhidrosis. So really sweaty. I basically, watch this though, all the way to the dermatologist, my hands were completely dry. This happens to me all the time. It's like whenever I need to show someone that my hands are like this, like a doctor, they'll be like totally dry, and I'm like, please believe me. But then like as soon as the doctor walked in the room, my hands were like pouring sweat. And I was like, yes, I'm dealing with this. And he's like, okay, let me see your hands. And he was like, oh, yep, you have some hyperhidrosis going on. And I was like, thank you. Because I'll be like, you know, I have my feet on the stupid thing at the doctor's, like, and I'm barefoot, and like my feet are just like dripping. It's gross. So obviously this is something that I wanted to tackle. So I was really excited for a doctor to finally take me seriously about this. I've always had doctors who will say like, oh, you know, we'll keep an eye on it, or we'll talk to a specialist about it. So finally someone did refer me to a dermatologist, and my doctor actually prescribed me this. It's called Drysol. And so what it does, it's basically, well, it's basically just something you put on your hands or your feet. I had talked with my doctor about oral medication for hyperhidrosis, but basically all that does is it affects the, I believe, the acetylcholine, and then I would have like had a hard time sweating anywhere, and after I worked out, I would have to like dry myself off with like damp towels to cool down because I wouldn't be able to sweat, and then it had a lot of side effects that I wasn't too big of a fan of. So the nice thing about this Drysol is that it's actually a topical, and it's basically really heavy aluminum chloride. It's 20%, so it does. Kelsey just commented, it totally looks like a bingo stamper. So if you look at the top, it looks like a little, like the little thing you dot on a bingo. So thank you guys all for hanging in there. I know this video is going kind of long, but so basically all I do is at night, I've actually forgotten the past few nights, and that's why my hands are so sweaty today. At first I was supposed to use it every single night, and then I can space it out to every other night and then once a week. But I basically just like put the liquid on to my hands when I have to like pat them dry, then put the liquid on to my hands, and then I basically have to go like this for a long time to get them to dry. So I'm just like sitting in my room flapping my hands and trying to get my hands to dry. And I had been kind of doing like my hands one night and my feet the next night, and then just going back and forth. And I actually noticed a huge difference with the Drysol, which is really cool. I I was skeptical because in the past I did try something called Certain Dry and it didn't work very well, but this is like way more concentrated. And Nikki, I actually do use it on my armpits too because they can be as bad as my hands and feet sometimes. And the crazy thing is that ever since I started using the dry sol, I can actually feel like when my hands want to sweat. It's so weird. Like I can feel like, okay, my hands are about to start sweating, but then they don't because the dry sol is working. Basically, I guess what it does is it plugs up the pores. That's how my doctor explained it to me. And so I have noticed a difference, especially in my hands. It's been easier working with patients because of it, but I do need to get more consistent with using it, like every night for a while, and then I'll switch to the every other night. And it does make it a lot easier. So, another thing that is really cool that my doctor was able to get approved for me through my insurance, which apparently he has never been able to do before, is to get an iontophoresis machine. I'm such a nerd about this because it's basically using electrical stimulation with water, and that's really exciting to me as a physical therapist because we learn how to use these type of modalities, so I'm really excited to try it for myself. So basically it is galvanic stimulation, which is a type of electric stimulation, and I basically will just put my hands, this is just the case, it's not the actual thing, but basically I'll put my hands in some water, and I got the digital one, that way like when I take my hands in and out of the water I don't get shocked. Thought that would be nice, so I don't have to have someone in the room with me to turn it on and off. So basically I put my hands or my feet in the pan of water and it automatically will start an electric stimulation, and supposedly it's supposed to help a lot with hyperhidrosis. So basically my doctor, I have a lot to thank him for, Dr. Mathis at, let's see, it's the dermatology through U of R in Rochester. He wrote like a really nice letter of justification for me and sent it to my insurance company about how it affects my job, and I think he kind of spun it as like safety wise, like, you know, I guess if I was handling someone and it was hard to hold on to them or something, but basically he wrote a letter of justification to be able to get this unit, and thank God, because when I went online and looked at the prices, the non-digital version is like almost $700, and the digital version, which is the one I got, is like almost $1,000. And so I'm really excited to be able to use the iontophoresis machine, and I'm really excited that it's getting covered by insurance because otherwise I probably never would have gotten it and I would have just used the dry sol. So obviously now I'm just going to have to figure out some kind of pattern on how often to use this, how often to use the dry sol. I'm probably going to wrap up this video because I don't want to go too long-winded, but thank you guys for listening. This is something I've been really scared to talk about because it is kind of embarrassing. Like, being a really sweaty person, I've been self-conscious about that most of my life. Sweaty hands, sweaty feet, like don't want people touching my feet, don't want people touching my hands, like try to avoid holding other people's hands at all costs. But now my job is very hands-on, and that's why this is so important to me to finally do something about it. So this is basically like my PSA to you. If you have something that makes you feel super self-conscious, that you just kind of avoided your whole life and you could benefit from doing something about it, this is my PSA to you to do something about it, because it could make a big change in your life. You know, it might be very, I don't know, hard to reach out about it, but it's so worth it. So I'll keep you guys updated on, I will definitely post about the iontophoresis when I finally give it a try. Just got it in the mail last night, so I will keep you updated on that and how the dry sol is working. They basically gave me like a ton of refills, so I'll keep using it. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, comment below. I found a lot of resources over the years of me trying to research and trying to, do something about it. So, Thanks for listening. If you're just tuning in now, there will be like the replay posted up on my wall. So feel free to stick around and watch that. All right, have a great weekend and hope you had a great Thanksgiving, everyone. Bye.
Hey guys, I'll probably just wait a couple minutes to see who gets on. Happy Saturday. Hope everyone's having a great weekend, had a great Thanksgiving.